শিব জয় জয় গৌরা চান্দে আরতি কে শোভা। জাহ্নবী তট বনে জগমনলোভা। শিব জয় জয় গৌরা চান্দে আরতি কে শোভা। জাহ্নবী তট বনে জগমনলোভা। গৌরাঙ্গের আরতিক শোভা জগ জন মন লোভা। গৌরাঙ্গের আরতিক শোভা জগ জন মন লোভা। গৌরাঙ্গের আরতিক শোভা জগ জন মন লোভা। জগ জন মন লোভা। জগ জন মন লোভা। জগ জন মন লোভা। হে গৌরাঙ্গের আরতিক শোভা জগ জন মন লোভা। হে গৌরাঙ্গের আরতিক শোভা জগ জন মন লোভা। নিতাই গৌরা হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল। নিতাই গৌরা হরি বল। নিতাই গৌরা হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল। নিতাই গৌরা হরি বল। শিব দক্ষিণে নিতাই চান্দ বামে গদাধর। শিব দক্ষিণে নিতাই চান্দ বামে গদাধর। নিকটে অদ্বৈত শ্রেণী বাস ছত্রধর। নিকটে অদ্বৈত শ্রেণী বাস ছত্রধর। শিব বসি আছে গৌরা চান্দ রত্ন সিংহাসনে। শিব বসি আছে গৌরা চান্দ রত্ন সিংহাসনে, আরতি করে না ব্রহ্মা আদি দেবগণে, আরতি করে না ব্রহ্মা আদি দেবগণে, জীবনর হরি আদি করি চামর দুলায়, জীবনর হরি আদি করি চামর দুলায়, সঞ্জয় মুকুন্দ বাসু ঘোষ আদি গায়, সঞ্জয় মুকুন্দ বাসু ঘোষ আদি গায়, সঞ্জয় মুকুন্দ বাসু ঘোষ আদি গায়, এব শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্ট বাজে বাজে করতাল, শিব শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্ট বাজে বাজে করতাল, মধুর মৃদঙ্গ বাজে পরমর স্থল, মধুর মৃদঙ্গ বাজে পরমর স্থল, শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্ট বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে, শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্ট বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে, শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্ট বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে, মধুর 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 বাজে, মধুর 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 বাজে, মধুর 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 বাজে, গৌরাঙ্গের আরতিক শোভা জগজন মন লোভা, গৌরাঙ্গের আরতিক শোভা জগজন মন লোভা, জগজন মন লোভা, জগজন মন লোভা, জগজন মন লোভা, শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্ট বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে নিতাই গৌর হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল শিখিব বহু কোটি চন্দ্র যিনি বদন উজ্জ্বল শিব বহু কোটি চন্দ্র যিনি বদন উজ্জ্বল জল দেশে বনমালা করে ঝলমল জল দেশে বনমালা করে ঝলমল শিব শিব সুখ নারদ প্রেমী গদ গদ শিব শিব সুখ নারদ প্রেমী গদ গদ ভকতি বিনোদ দেখে গৌরার সম্পদ ভকতি বিনোদ দেখে গৌরার সম্পদ নমো বিষ্ণুপাদায় কৃষ্ণপৃষ্ঠায় ভূতলে শ্রীমতে ভক্তি বেদান্ত স্বামী ইতি নামিনে नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा Chant loudly. Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Radhe. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gauranga, 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 Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari. Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. Jai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Jai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari.
Namamishwaram Satchit Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Prajamanam Yasoda Biyodu Kala Tavamanam Param Rishtamakyanta Sodrutya Gopya Rudam Muhurnetra Shubham Rijantam Param Bhosarupena Satam Kanetram Muhu Swasakam Patri Vehanta Panta Sitagrai Vandamoda Bhakti Badam Iti Triksvalilabhir Ananda Kunde Swakosham Nimajantam Akyapayantam Adiyeshitagyeshu Bhaktarchitatvam Una Premathastam Sakha Briti Bande Param Deva Moksham Na Moksha Vadinva Nachanyam Praneham Varishata Bihar Idam te vapurnata gopala balam Sadame manasya virastam kimanyare Idam te mukham bojam atyanta nilaya Ritam kundalai snika raktascha gopya
Okay, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and welcome to the first night of Kartik, Sharad Purnima. We are so happy to have you, and we know most of you are missing the temple, just like I myself. We all know that the first night of Kartik at temple is so magical, but we have an equally wonderful program lined up for everybody tonight. So just before we have Bhakti Caitanya Swami, we have a lovely video that's been put together by the ISKCON Vaishnavi Ministry. This video has been done by Karunamai Devidasi. Karunamai Mataji is a medical doctor, and she has put together a video on how to offer lamps during the month of Kartik. It's a fun tutorial which everybody can benefit from. So we're going to go over to Surabhi Kunj Mataji, who has the video. She's going to play it for us, and then we'll go move on to Bhakti Caitanya Swami. Thank you, dear devotees.
In the month of Kartik, which is very dear to Sri Hari, one who bathes early in the morning attains the merit of bathing in all places of pilgrimage. Anybody who offers the Lord a ghee lamp in the month of Kartik or Brahmana becomes free from all kinds of sins, such as killing a Brahmana, and he goes to the abode of Lord Hari from the Brahma Kanda. One should offer a lamp to Lord Damodar with love and devotion, meditating that Krishna is going to accept our meager offering. Hare Krishna. During this auspicious month of Kartik, we offer a lamp to Lord Damodar. Today I'm going to show you the procedure in which we offer the lamp. I will also explain a little about the significance of why we do it and how to do it. Hare Krishna. So first to do Achman, purifying both hands. Once we've done that, purifying your bell and your lamp, then we're going to place in dried tulsi stem into your ghee wick lamp. Krishna accepts anything that is offered with tulsi. The ghee lamp represents the offering of a pure element. It's a symbol of hospitality and is symbolic of a warm welcome. It represents fire. With the offering of this fire through the pure element, it also symbolizes the burning of one's false ego and represents our soul when we are offering the lamp to the Lord. So first when we offer, we stand on a coarse mat. We do not stand on the bare ground. You should always, if you do not have a coarse mat, then you should stand on any mat. So stepping onto your mat, whatever your principal deity is, you start by offering 4 to the feet, 2 to the waist, 3 to the head, and 7 around the body. If you have Shilas like I do, then by Manasa, you will imagine that this is the parts of the body to which you are offering the Lord the lamp. So when we begin, we're going to be meditating on the Shila or your principal deity and meditating that the Lord is accepting your offering. We should focus on the offering rather than the counting of the numbers. Okay? In your background, you're going to have kirtan, or as a family, you can have somebody, the rest of your family members having live kirtan. Hari Bhakti Vilas, 8th chapter, Vilas Mantra, text 38. Suprakacho Mahatejao, Sarvatasti Marapao, Sabaya Bayantara Jyotir Depo, Ya Pratigahayatam. Translation. Please accept this brilliant lamp which removes all darkness, both within and without.
Thank you, Karuna Mai Mataji, and thank you to the technical team for putting together that wonderful video. I'm sure most of you found it very informative, very beautiful as well. Those Shilas were Mataji's personal altar, and her Giriraj Shilas. Mataji has such a wonderful array of deities which she's collected over the years. And moving on, we're now going to have a lecture by His Holiness Bhakti Caitanya Swami. Bhakti Caitanya Swami is no stranger to the movement, and if you have come to the temple or if you've been involved with ISKCON in South Africa, you definitely know who Bhakti Caitanya Swami is. He's no stranger to all of us. He's one of the stalwart members of our society and one of the key spiritual masters that have spread Krishna consciousness in South Africa. Bhakti Caitanya Swami is born in New Zealand. He started practicing Krishna consciousness in 1973, and he's been in South Africa for well over, I think it is 30 years now. Maharaj has many disciples. He gives daily lectures on the Srimad Bhagavatam, on the Bhagavad Gita. He hosts courses as well. So without much further ado, we'd like to hand over to His Holiness Bhakti Caitanya Swami, and we're looking forward to his wonderful lecture. Thank you, dear devotees.
Hare Krishna, devotees. How nice to be here with you on this first evening of Kartik. Wow, it's really so auspicious and wonderful. Yes, so thank you all, devotees from South Africa, devotees from Russia, and devotees from other parts of the world. This is really the International Society for Krishna Consciousness tonight. So here we go. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyachade Shatarne Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchkalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Shri Radha Damodar Ki, Shri Shri Yashoda Damodar Ki, Kartik Vrata Ki, Damodar Vrata Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Gaur Premanande. Yes, actually I've been here 40 years, almost 41. Yeah, okay, so today is the first day of Kartik 2020. How just absolutely wonderful. It's such an auspicious time. You know, we just had the month of Purushottam, I think probably you're all well aware, which is also very auspicious and nice, and there are different statements in scripture and from different great personalities how important is Purushottam, but Kartik really is more important, to be frank, because, well, at least we get the idea, because it's one of the rules in Nectar of Devotion. We just saw some weeks ago, actually a couple of months ago now, we completed the Nectar of Devotion for Bhakti Shastri online with hundreds of devotees. And there are 64 rules, things you must do, and some things you must not do also. So one of the rules is that we should observe Kartik. We must observe Kartik, Kartik Vrata, Urja Vrata, it's sometimes called. And this is coming from Rupa Goswami via Srila Prabhupada. We don't actually find a rule like that for Purushottam that you must observe, although there are different statements and, you know, devotees get into it. But Kartik is extra special, extra special. Srila Prabhupada once said that he was asked, what is Kartik and what does it mean? And Srila Prabhupada answered that just as sometimes a shop owner, shopkeeper, who has a shop and he's selling different items, and the same items, basically, you know, this is the way shops generally work. They specialize in certain types of things. So every now and then, Prabhupada made the point that every now and then, the shop owner, the shopkeeper, decides to have a sale. And it's just his decision. He doesn't have to do that. There is no law that all shops must have a sale at any particular time. That's up to them. But sometimes they decide we'll have a sale. Then you can get the usual things, the things you normally get there, but you can get them now cheaper. And therefore it's a special thing. You know, in England, I was living in England. I've been here for more than 40 years, almost 41. In January, it'll be 41. But I lived in England for 7 years. And on December the 26th, the day after Christmas, they have the big stores, particularly down Oxford Street, the main street. They have their sales, and some people queue up overnight, and they wait at the door overnight, and sometimes people get trampled because it's the sale. So anyway, Srila Prabhupada made the point that sometimes Krishna decides to have a sale. Krishna, of course, is dealing in mercy. He's a sort of a shopkeeper, and the particular products that he's selling, the particular thing he's selling, so to speak, is mercy. And normally, you can get the mercy in the normal way, but sometimes when Krishna's having a sale, you can get the same mercy much more easily. So Srila Prabhupada said, Kartik means Krishna is having a sale. Krishna's having a sale. And you can get that mercy. You can get that mercy much more easily. Much more easily. So that's there in Krishna consciousness. I'm sure you've all heard this before. It's it's a well-known thing. We talk about it regularly, or quite often at least. How in Kartik you chant your 16 rounds as you normally do, but you get more mercy from it. And you do your devotional service as you do it, but you get more mercy. There are different statements coming from different sources about how much mercy you get. But sometimes it's said that in Kartik, you get 1,000 times the mercy for you doing your different devotional activities. Now, I don't know about that exactly, 1,000 times, but definitely you get more mercy. Therefore, in Kartik, it is recommended strongly, it's in scripture, well, it's in Nectar of Devotion where that rule appears, that because of this special mercy, we should all make some special effort in Kartik. This is called Kartik Vrata, or Damodar Vrata it can be called also. Vrata means vow, that we take a special vow for this month. So it's just the right time right now, the first evening of Kartik. It is simply the right time for taking some vow right now, here with us, that you will increase some particular Krishna conscious activity will increase. Oftentimes devotees increase their chanting. Actually, I just read a very interesting thing this morning from Prabhupada, supplied by our research specialist devotee, Prema Priya Devi Dasi. Sure. Every day she comes up with these just wonderful quotes from Prabhupada. So this morning she came up with one from Prabhupada. Devotee asks Prabhupada, so what should we do? We mentioned the meaning or the significance just a little while ago now. But now this question is, what should we do? What should we actually do during Kartik? And Srila Prabhupada's simple, straightforward answer. Prabhupada said, Kartik means you chant 24 hours a day. That's what Prabhupada said. It's a fact. So anyway, I don't know 24 hours, but extra, we should chant extra. Yes. 1 round, 2, 4, you decide. Why don't you make a decision right now as we are discussing this right now at this moment? Why don't you make a decision to do something extra for Krishna, for Lord Damodar? I leave it up to you, but this is my suggestion. You can think you can increase your chanting, as I've been suggesting right now. You can also increase your reading of Prabhupada's books. Yeah, they're different things. But I would strongly suggest try to do that tonight. And not something too way out. Something that you can manage, but something which will be a special type of offering to the Lord for his pleasure. Yes, this is the Kartik Vrata, or the Damodar Vrata, the special vow for this month. So, yeah, so that's some sort of, you could say, background in that sense. But what is Kartik? Where does it come from? I mean, historically, Radha Damodar, Yashoda Damodar. What is this Damodar? Yeah. So, of course, there's very famous pastime, extremely famous pastime of Yashoda Damodar. There's also Radha Damodar. Well, let me tell you about Radha Damodar first. Yeah. Damodar, Dama Udara, tied with rope around the waist, or just tied around the waist. So there's a special pastime. It happened not too far, it's not far from Govardhan Hill. The place is still there. Our devotees do not go there very much, but it's a nice place. So there's a special place where this Radha Damodar pastime took place, not far from Govardhan Hill. It is called Gulal Kund. Gulal Kund. So it's not a big, complex pastime like the Yashoda Damodar pastime. We'll briefly tell you that in a couple of minutes. It's not so long and drawn out, but it's a very beautiful pastime that Radha and Krishna and the gopis were meeting at this place, this Gulal Kund. And they were very happily meeting, and somehow a discussion developed that why don't Radha and Krishna get married? Discussion developed. And, back and forth, and Krishna was procrastinating. Radharani was more enthusiastic. Krishna was procrastinating. But it was quite intense discussion because it's an intense subject. So while this intense discussion was going on, some of the gopis sneaked up behind Radha and Krishna. Radha and Krishna were sitting on a seat that they say that seat is still there. If you look in our Govardhan book, actually, you'll see that there's a description and there's a photo of this seat with, I think it's carvings of the pastime. So these gopis tied together the cloths of Radha and Krishna, because this is what happens in a traditional Vedic wedding, husband and wife, the groom, bride and groom, just now being married, they get tied together. In South Africa, it's only just, it's not for very long at all, but in some places, husband and wife are tied together for a week and they cannot be undone. And so they're literally together 24 hours a day. Then you really get to see who or what your husband or wife is. Anyway, so they tied them together. And then after a little while, Radha and Krishna stood up, but then they saw they're tied together. And everyone just laughed and laughed and laughed. And then they played holy. Then they squirted with waters from the kund. So it's a fairly big kund, Gulal kund. They squirted colors all over each other, and it was very ecstatic. And this is the pastime of Radha Damodar. Not Yashoda Damodar, but Radha Damodar. Radha and Krishna are tied together. You know, of course, Yashoda Damodar, you all know that pastime very well. That's really a wonderful and important pastime. Let me just briefly mention a couple of things. That Mother Yashoda was breastfeeding Krishna while churning some yogurt into butter. And then, of course, as you all know very well, some milk inside, just inside the house. They were in the courtyard outside. So on the stove inside in the kitchen, some milk started boiling over. I mean, not boiling over, but bubbling up like it's going to boil over. And milk is liquid religiosity. So you cannot waste even a drop of milk. Really. You know, I have milk. Well, I have milk every day, actually. But occasionally, you know, something happens and a little drop comes out onto the table. And I always get it up with my finger and try to get it all, because it's liquid religiosity. We shouldn't waste a drop. So Mother Yashoda didn't want to waste that milk. Plus it was for Krishna. So she had to look after it. So she just put Krishna down on the ground, ran inside and saved the milk. Now, when a small child is being breastfed, because this happens when Krishna's small. This happens in Gokula. The place is in Gokula, near the palace of Nanda Maharaj, where Krishna appeared. So Krishna was small, and Prabhupada makes the point that for a small child, when a small child is being breastfed, that is the safest, most secure, and just most wonderful position for the child to be in. Just so. It's like perfection, practically, for a child. And there was Krishna, just in the most satisfied, happy position. Suddenly, bang, he's on the ground, and his mother's just gone. So Krishna got upset, being mistreated by his mother. So Krishna, he smashed the pot that the yogurt was being churned into butter in, smashed a hole in it. So out came, and this is, maybe a 20 liter, 15 liter or something pot, or even more, maybe 30 liters. And so now there's a hole, and it all came out, half-formed butter and half yogurt, half buttermilk all came out on the floor. What a mess. We say a housewife's nightmare. And then Krishna climbed up. There was some pots of various other dairy products suspended from the ceiling. Krishna climbed up and smashed them. And so all this butter and milk and cream and whatever different dairy products from these different pots, it also came down onto the floor. So maybe there's 50, maybe there's 100 liters of all these things just on the floor. Oh, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So Krishna started eating the butter until he'd had enough. Then he started off or feeding it to the monkeys until they had had enough. And now at the end, he's offering the butter to the monkeys, but they're too full, so they're refusing. And then in came Mother Yashoda again. And what a scene! What a crazy, terrible scene. And there is the chief crook, Krishna, offering the butter to the monkeys, and the monkeys refusing. Yeah, you know, Mother Yashoda has a thing about her butter because Krishna's famous for stealing butter, and indeed Krishna has a bit of a reputation, and Mother Yashoda does not like that Krishna is known to be a thief. You know, for a respectable family, if one of the children becomes a thief and like a public nuisance like that, it's very embarrassing. So she really felt bad that Krishna is going out and stealing the butter. And she thought, it's because my butter is not good enough. So therefore she gathered the best of all the cows of Nanda Maharaj, fed them every day the best grass from different special places around Vraj Mandala, the best, greenest grass. They call it green gold because when the cows get good grass, wow, the good milk comes. And she would personally milk those cows and then make the milk into yogurt, make the yogurt into butter, you know, like some kilos of butter, and just give it to Krishna, go on, just eat it. And the idea was that now Krishna will not go out and steal the butter because he's got excellent butter. But Mother Yashoda would come back 5 minutes later, Krishna was gone. Krishna was gone. Stealing butter from the neighboring houses. Oh. Wow. So Mother Yashoda, actually she had, you could say, a complex about her butter. My butter's not good enough. I'm a failure as a housewife and mother. So in she walks, and there's this mess, incredible mess. And there's Krishna offering the butter to the monkeys, and the monkeys are refusing and backing off. And Krishna being sarcastic and being upset with his mother. He thought, this is the time I'll say something. Krishna said, Mata, just see, your butter is so bad, even the monkeys won't eat it. So then Mother Yashoda decided, okay, that's it. That's it, I've got to discipline this boy, straighten him out, because he's becoming too much of a problem. Yeah. And as we've mentioned, I'm sure you've heard, she was afraid that if he keeps stealing like this, when he grows up, he's going to be a criminal, a thief, a professional. That he will become the head of the Makan Mafia. And, and the people who hear about him, what a bad criminal he is when he's a young adult, they're going to say, who was the useless mother of this person? Oh. So she decided, we got to correct this boy, straighten this boy out. So she decided to tie him up as a form of discipline, not to hit him and not to just scream at him, but tie him up, restrict him. It won't hurt him, but it'll restrict him and he'll understand that this has happened to me because I was bad, so I must change my ways. So you all know what happened, that she went chasing after him, but she couldn't catch him. She is, because Krishna, Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj were already into their middle age before Krishna appeared. Prabhupada describes Nanda Maharaj as being in his 40s with graying hair. And Mother Yashoda is, probably a little less, but not much. So she's probably also in her 40s and a little heavily built. And feeling the age a little bit. Whereas Krishna's a nimble little boy. He can jump around and dodge and move fast, change direction very quickly. But Mother Yashoda can't do these things because she's a little on the old side, not too much, but she is a little. And she's heavily built. So, but she was determined that I have to help this child, help him to improve himself. It's very important. So she wouldn't give up. She was chasing back and forth and around and all over and becoming exhausted, but not stopping. And as she's doing this, and every time Krishna's dodging out of her grip, just when she thinks she's got him. So at every moment, her concern was increasing. She wasn't going to give up and just say, oh, too bad. No, she was determined. And because of that determination to serve Krishna and help Krishna and please Krishna in this way, Krishna became overpowered by that motherly, loving concern. Overpowered. So then Mother Yashoda caught him. She caught him by the power of love only. So now the next stage of the disciplining program is to tie him up. So she found some rope, looks like enough, something, I don't know, something like that maybe, because he's just a small child, around his waist, but it was 2 fingers too short. Very strange that it looked like there was enough. Okay, no problem, get more. So now she's got 3 meters of rope. Must be enough. But it was 2 fingers too short. How is it possible? But she didn't really question that this is not possible. Something is wrong here. She just thought, oh, must get more rope. So she got eventually, she had like 5 meters. And as we do say sometimes, if 5 meters of rope will not get around your tummy, you have been eating too much prasadam, too much butter paneer, perhaps. Yeah. So in the end, she got so much rope. She got all the rope in the village. Means hundreds of meters of rope. It was 2 fingers too short. That's crazy. But then again, her mood of motherly love increased and increased and then overflowed again. And then Krishna could not stop being tied up. So yeah, that's basically the pastime. That's the main part of the pastime. Of course, it's more or less a separate pastime, actually, of the deliverance of Nalakuvara and Manigriva. Krishna is now tied up. He's tied to a grinding mortar, kind of heavy and quite big kitchen type of implement. Krishna crawled and, dragging that big mortar behind him, went between these 2 trees who previously had been Nalakuvara and Manigriva, but they got cursed to become trees. And the mortar got stuck between the trees. Krishna went through between. The mortar was stuck across against the 2 trees. Now Krishna kept going. These are 2 Arjuna trees. Arjuna trees are very special. They've got a whole lot of Arjuna trees in Mauritius, brought from India, because, Arjuna trees have very heavy root systems. And in Mauritius, they have cyclones every year, every other year, something like that. And those cyclones destroy crops and buildings. Sometimes people die. So they brought all these Arjuna trees as windbreaks, because even if there is a hurricane, generally an Arjuna tree will not fall, won't get blown over. So, but Krishna knocked over 2 Arjuna trees. He knocked over 2. Just see how powerful is our Krishna. He's our hero. And then out came the demigods, Nalakuvara, Manigriva, and they really appreciated getting that mercy from the Lord. And then Krishna told them, okay, go back to the heavenly planets. And they asked that before we go, can you please give us a benediction? And Krishna said, all right, you will remember me for the rest of your lives. And at the end of your lives, you'll go back to Godhead. And off they went. Yeah. And let me tell you an interesting little thing. I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but they then reappear. They reappear. Nalakuvara, Manigriva, they reappear in Krishna's pastimes. Let me just check here. Where are we? They reappear in Gopal Champu. Would you believe? In Gopal Champu, they reappear. Nalakuvara and Manigriva, they reappear, as Madhukanta and Snigdakanta, the reciters of Gopal Champu, of Srila Jiva Goswami. And that's a book, wow, in-depth Krishna Leela. Yeah, so, okay, so that's there also. But really, you know, the Damodar Leela, Yashoda Damodar, is the whole Leela coming to the point of Krishna being tied up. It's the main part. And how, due to Mother Yashoda's devotion and dedication to serving Krishna as a mother, as his mother, and helping Krishna to become a better person, as all mothers generally want to do. They want their children to grow up to become real assets and to be known as good people. So Mother Yashoda was so dedicated that she was able to tie up Krishna. Krishna, who cannot be controlled by anyone. People pray to God, give us this, give us that. But so many times they don't get it. You know, when I was young, I was a big Bob Dylan fan. And there's one song of Bob Dylan's called If God is on Our Side. If God's on our side. And I knew that song very well. And it's an anti-war protest song. In the beginning, Bob Dylan was into protest music against governments and stuff. So at the end, he sings, if God's on our side, he'll stop the next war. Oh, Krishna. The next war did not get stopped. The next war happened, and the one after, and the one after, and the one after. And it's not Krishna's fault. It's our fault. It's the people's fault because they're greedy, they're lusty, they're envious, they're proud, they're arrogant. And therefore they can't stop squabbling. And even on a national level, and you know what I mean. Yes. So you can't force God. You can't force God. I remember once when I was distributing books in central London, Oxford Street, I stopped some young man, kind of hippie-ish looking, long hair and, not well dressed, and offered him a book, and he turned around and said, "Show me God, show me." And of course I couldn't just, put my hand in the pocket and pull out Krishna. I could have, if I'd thought quickly enough, given him a book because it is an incarnation of Krishna. And anyway, because I couldn't show him God, then he said, he doesn't exist. And off he went. You can't force Krishna. But Mother Yashoda, she forced Krishna because of her love. And so this whole pastime, this whole month is dedicated to this pastime. It's such an important pastime, meaning the lessons to be learned about the power of love of the Lord. The lessons to be learned are just of such paramount, top-level importance that for the whole month we celebrate this one pastime. You know, I've made this point before that we celebrate Janmashtami, Radhastami, Govardhan Puja's coming up in a couple of weeks, and etc., etc. You all know very well. We generally celebrate for a day, maybe a couple of days, something like that. But now this pastime, we celebrate for one whole month. That means it really is important. So think about this, devotees, friends. Think about this. I know we're all still kind of partially locked down, partially quarantined, and it's frightening, actually. It's frightening. You all know what happened with Kadamba Kanana Maharaj. You know, fortunately, it seems we're not going to lose him like we lost Bhakti Churu Maharaj. We lost Yasamati Nandan Prabhu. What a wonderful devotee who I knew very well. So nice. So it's frightening. It's going on. People are dying from this virus. Devotees are dying. Yeah. Of course, we all got to die sometime, and we are going to die sometime. But as explained in the beginning, Anyway, what was I saying? So it's a very important pastime. And, you know, in the beginning of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that's what I was going to say, the point is raised that if you're familiar with the beginning of the 10th canto, Vasudeva and Devaki have just been married, just now. They're on their way to Vasudeva's parents' place. Kamsa is driving the chariot. A voice comes from the sky and says their 8th child's going to kill him. Kamsa takes out his sword. He's just about to kill Devaki just like that. And Vasudeva has to think really quick how to speak to Kamsa in such ways to stop him. And he manages to do it. But one point that is mentioned in the course of that whole, the discussion that happens, is that when one is faced with death, one has a duty to avoid death, if possible. If it's possible, you have a duty to avoid death. Not just like, oh, it doesn't matter, you know, just let me die. It's a duty to try to save oneself, rather than just die when death can be avoided. Yeah, so anyway, so the thing is that Mother Yashoda's devotion and love controlled Krishna. He couldn't escape. And we must learn from that and follow in the footsteps of Mother Yashoda. And in this way, our relationship with Krishna will develop. We'll gradually become able to influence him more. Yes, it's true. It's true. Okay, let me just close. We're going to take some questions, I see. So if you've got any questions, just write them in the chat there. But one just last point before we go to the questions. We mentioned about the 2 fingers, the rope, 2 fingers too short every time. And one of our great previous acharyas His name was Sridhar Swami, the first commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam, actually. He said these two fingers represent two very important things. One finger represents the effort of the devotee to serve the Lord and please the Lord. And the other finger represents the mercy of the Lord, who, if we are trying hard, then generally the Lord, when he sees the devotees are trying to please them, generally he gives mercy. So the second finger then represents the mercy of the Lord. So in every endeavor in our lives, there's our effort and then there's Krishna's mercy. These two have to be there. Not simply that we just work hard, and it's all happening because of us. And not simply that we sit down and say, okay, Krishna, you want it to happen, you make it happen, and wake me up, when you're ready, when you're finished. Both things have to be there. The effort of the devotee, the mercy of the Lord. Now, devotees, look at my fingers. Can you see my fingers? Look at that. This is my effort finger, and this is the mercy of Krishna finger. Look at them. See, the longer one. This is the mercy of Krishna finger. So what does that mean? And have a look at your fingers. See if they're like mine. Mine, it's quite prominent. But the point here is that the main thing is the mercy. We have to make our best effort, no doubt. But the main thing is the mercy. Yes. And if we try our best to please the Lord, following in the footsteps of Mother Yashoda, who did that, then we'll get the mercy. We'll make progress in Krishna consciousness. We'll be very happy in Krishna consciousness. And we'll be free from a lot of the disturbances of life in this world. And at the end of this life, we'll go back home, back to Godhead, and be there with Mother Yashoda and Damodar and Radha Damodar, be there with them eternally. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now, I believe there are a few questions. I heard at least something. Okay, let's have a look. All right. So first question from Shavan Naidu is, Shavan wants to know the significance of the 2 inches or 2 fingers short rope. We just talked about that. I could just throw in a little extra thing about that. Like we said, we have to make the effort. In Krishna consciousness, there's no place for lazy people, lazies or crazies. So we have to make the effort, and the mercy will be there. So, but there's a saying, we should, in our efforts in devotional service, we should work hard like it depends on us, as if it does. Work hard like that. But then we should pray and beg for mercy like it all depends on Krishna. So that's a nice little perspective. Oh, that was the only question. Okay. All right. So, Divya Shakti, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you.
We should finish now, I suppose.
Thank you so much for transporting us to Sri Vrindavan.
You're muted, I think.
Oh, okay. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Anyway, okay, fair enough.
Hare Krishna, dear
So
devotees.
thank you all. Thank you all very much for participating. Thank you, Divya Shakti, for your kind introduction. And we will see you sooner or later. We will see you. And we wish you all the best for this month of Kartik, all the very best. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Shri
Krishna.
Radha Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Radha
Jai. Hey, whoa, what happened? Oh. Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining us. Thank you so much to Bhakti Caitanya Swami for really transporting us to Sri Vrindavan Dham. That lecture was amazing. And I'm sure it really soothed our hearts and really made us feel like we were back in Sri Sri Radha Radha Nath. So there were some more questions that I do see that came in the chat, but we will try and answer them. Maybe we could reach out to these devotees privately, and we will try and get them their answers. Thank you, dear devotees, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Wishing you all a blessed and wonderful Kartik Mass. Thank you, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.